Trader turned $70. Profit to $70 loss. Day 11 of flipping 1K to 10K.
So this was my first trade of the day. As you can see on the H4, yesterday with the CPI news, it actually came all the way down. But you can see that now it's forming consecutive bullish candles. What we can see is that this is just a pullback for a better price to sell down again, to at least retest this low. So if you look on the 30 minutes, my idea since it was sells, I was waiting for a resistance to form during London. And after this resistance formed, you can see that I took my entry the moment this new candle opened, and my stops were above this high. The reason why I didn't really wait for the upper wick was because this was a justifiable sell for the stop loss, because sometimes you don't even get an upper wick, you just melt down straight away. So you have to decide whether it's worth missing the trade over trying to squeeze out the extra few pips. So as you can see, it's 16 pips for a target of somewhere in the Asian range, so it's a 40 pip target. So this is a 1:2.45 target. So as you can see, the price actually drove down, but it failed to break the low. Then later on it closed doji. So after this closure happened, this was where I decided that it was time to manage risk. So I shifted my stop loss to the high of this candle. I think in hindsight I should have just closed the position full, but I mean there's nothing wrong also shifting my stop loss to break even, to the previous high and just risking a bit. What was wrong was that I decided to re-enter this position over here because I had a bit of FOMO, but I caught myself doing it, so I quickly closed out and I lost another small amount. So overall, this whole trade idea, I took a 0.5 R loss, which is not a big deal because my original risk was 1 R. So this was my second trade of the day. It was taken shortly after my first trade at London Open. What happened was that this candle took liquidity from the previous candle and then it closed bearish. So what I could see was that as long as this high was respected, I can take an entry over here on the new candle, and then I can sell down all the way to Asian mid-range. So as you can see, I didn't really wait long for the upper wick for this candle because the stops were very justifiable. It was 8 pips, and then in return I was targeting 40 pips. But of course, I'll secure somewhere along 2.5 to 3 R. So as you can see, it came up slightly and then it melted down all the way. This was where I secured 80% of my position, and I left the rest to run. But of course I shifted my stop loss to break even. However, the remaining 20% came back up, tapped me out to break even. And for this trade, I was up 1.5 R. So at this point in time, I was up a total of 1 R for the day. So it really depends on what New York brings. Hopefully I can end the day profitable. So this was my third trade of the day. As you can see, retail sales did very well, and dollar strength came back and gold melted all the way. But during this point, there was no entry because the move was so bearish. I had to wait for another resistance to form before I could take a sell. However, from this candle, I saw that on the 1 minute, this new candle that I'm anticipating a rejection or resistance to form, it broke the high, but on the 1 minute it didn't push above. So when it ran slightly and broke the 1 minute structure, I took a sell over here, and then it came down. I was targeting all the way to the low, but it didn't come all the way. So at 1:3 R, I secured a partial, and the other half came all the way back and hit me at break even. So for this trade, I was up very little because I actually took a smaller risk on this. I was up about half R from this. So yeah, so this trade actually I only won half R even though it ran 100 pips. So for my fourth trade of the day, after I got confirmation from this candle, which was a resistance, I entered another position over here. On the retracement of the candle, I entered somewhere over here and anticipating that it will respect this high. And especially since there was no lower wick, I thought it could push all the way. And since this was the 10 p.m. candle, yeah, it was a new candle with no lower wick, so I was anticipating that the H1, the M30 could push up and then flip down for a bearish H1 close. However, as you can see, it came all the way back up and it took me out. The worst part was that somewhere in this candle, when it was coming all the way up, late into almost close to the candle close, I went to add risk because I became greedy. I thought that the retracement came in deep and then it will still respect this high and then you'll flip back down, but unfortunately I got taken out from both positions. So over here I lost 1.5 R. So I stupidly went to enter a fifth trade. I think because I was partially tilted from this, I was angry at myself for mismanaging the risk. Even if I just taken the 1 R loss, I would still be up for the day, but because of this I was actually down, and then I wanted to make it back. So this was very poor psychology on my part. So I took a sell with no confirmations and no proper place to put a stop loss. I took it based on the 1 minute, and as you can see, when you do things out of your usual habits, you will take losses like that. So today I threw another half R from this. Yeah, because I think I closed out the moment I realized that I was doing stupid stuff. So this was my last trade of the day. I mean, at this point, this closed doji and a rejection, but I actually was rejecting from nothing, so I was just actually looking for forced sales again. I was married to my idea. So what happened was I think this idea could be quite valid on the 1 minute, because as long as you can see, it still respected the high. As long as your entry price was good enough, I think you could still do a scalp down. But I didn't. I was measuring it based on the M30, and I was looking for 1 to 3, targeting the bottom of the range. But because the session was coming to a close, so and volume was dying down, I should really have avoided this trade completely. So I took my entry here. It came all the way and almost tapped my stop loss. I retraced, so I decided to cut my position. So I lost another half hour here and called it a day because I think I was really mismanaging my risk. And actually, the tilt actually didn't come from the bad trades or anything. It was more towards me stacking another position here. So this is something that I really need to take note about. Like I should really, it's okay to take trades, but I should really avoid stacking positions and adding risk to something that I've already calculated the risk for. So taking double losses on the same idea is really unnecessary.
Ended the day down 1.5 R, minus $72.81. Day 10, account balance, $828.81. Follow for more.